Change is hard. That's a fact. Which is why I often say that change is possible, but it isn't probable. Change isn't hard because there's something wrong with you. It's hard because of the way your brain is wired. The number one reason change is hard is that your brain is predictive, not reactive. The unconscious part of your brain is always focused on figuring out what your next move should be. And it processes a lot more information than you can process consciously. It's good that your brain is predictive. Having to consciously decide what to do in each and every situation that arises would be a lousy survival strategy, because conscious mental processes are slower, more limited, and more effortful than unconscious mental processes. Compare doing your taxes with driving to work, or to a friend's house, any route you know by heart. Doing your taxes requires conscious attention, while you can drive a familiar route on autopilot. What if you had to pay the same amount of conscious attention to driving a familiar route that you pay to doing your taxes? What if you had to pay that much conscious attention to everything you did? You wouldn't be able to do it. So it's a good thing you don't have to. The result of having a predictive brain is that you're extremely likely to keep doing what you've been doing. By the time you become aware of being in a particular situation that requires a response from you, your brain has already picked up on cues, interpreted and compared them with prior experiences, and initiated what it considers to be the appropriate action. Moment to moment, consciousness is playing catch-up. Here's another thing that gets in the way of change. The unconscious part of your brain doesn't want anything to do with it. Instead, it wants to maintain the status quo. As far as your brain is concerned, what you've been doing up till now has worked, as evidenced by the fact that you're still alive. So there's no reason for you to do something different, and every reason to keep doing what you've been doing. In fact, when you attempt to deviate from the status quo, your brain will correct you back to your previous path. So if you want to change your behavior, you have to be as relentless about creating a different path as your brain is about maintaining the existing one. Most of the time, we give up long before this has been accomplished. And that brings me to a third thing that keeps us from making the changes we want to make: our beliefs about how things should work. You may be under the impression that moment to moment you have more conscious control over what you do than you actually have. So when change doesn't happen as quickly or easily as you'd like it to happen, you look for an explanation. You might decide there's something wrong with you. You don't have enough willpower. You're sabotaging yourself, or you don't really want to change. Then you divert your attention and energy to trying to figure out why change isn't happening. Don't go down that rabbit hole. As I said at the beginning, change isn't hard because there's something wrong with you. Change is hard because the part of the brain that runs you most of the time actively resists it. If you want to use your brain instead of letting your brain use you, the best thing to do is learn how the two parts operate. You can get them to work together to help you have more of what you want in your life and less of what you don't want. I'm Joycelyn Campbell. I train people who are up to something to master the art and science of change so they can create consistently satisfying and meaningful lives and make the difference they want to make in the world. You can find out more at farthertogo.com. Thanks for listening.